2. Treating parents with kindness. The second directive is that parents should be treated with kindness. This directive is present in all divine scriptures. Besides this verse, the Quran has also mentioned it elsewhere in Surah Ankabut, in Surah Luqman, and Surah Ahqaf. There is no doubt in the fact that among human beings, a person's foremost obligation is towards his parents. Thus, after worshipping God, Muslims have been directed to fill it the foremost. The reason for this is that it is the parents who bring a person into existence, and it is they who nourish and look after him. The way this directive is mentioned in Surah Luqman and Surah Ahqaf shows that among the parents, it is the mother who has more right on the children. The words in Surah Luqman are, وَوَصَّيْنَا الْإِنسَانَ بِوَالِدَيْهِ حَمَلَتْهُ أُمُّهُ وَهْنًا عَلَى وَهْنٍ وَفِصَالُهُ فِي عَامَيْنِ أَنِ اشْكُرْ لِي وَلِوَالِدَيْكَ إِلَيَّ الْمَصِيرُ. And we have counseled man regarding his parents. His mother bore him with much hardships, which resulted in weakness upon weakness, and he is not weaned before he is 2 years of age. We counseled him, show gratitude to me and to your parents, and towards me is the return. Surah number 31, verse 14. In the upbringing of a child, a father too plays no less a role. However, the hardships which a mother bears during her pregnancy, at childbirth, and then during breastfeeding are unparalleled. For this very reason, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ has regarded a mother to have 3 times more right on her children than the father. However, regardless of this difference, the Almighty has counseled man to be thankful to both his parents, the foremost after God. This gratitude is not to be expressed merely through the tongue. There are some essential requisites of this gratitude, which the Quran has related in the above quoted verses of Surah Bani Israel. The first thing mentioned is that a person should treat his parents in a manner that he shows respect to them, not only outwardly, but also from the depth of his heart. He should not show any aversion to them in his heart, and also not say something before them which is against manners. In fact, he should treat them with love, affection, and decency, and in a manner that reflects his obedience to them. He should obey them, and in the frailty of old age comfort them, and be a means of reassurance to them. In these verses, the objective for which old age has specifically been mentioned is explained thus by Imam Amin Ehsan Islahi. It is this period in which those people regard their parents to be a burden who forget their sacrifices and selfless behavior in their childhood. Obedient and respectful children remember that the way they were once nurtured by their parents when they were nothing but a lump of meat and bones, in a similar manner their parents have now been consigned to them when they are no more than skeletons. It is now their duty to repay them their favors. However, not everyone remembers this. These verses are in fact a reminder for this reality. In fact, the truth of the matter is that parents deserve love, respect, and good behavior, whatever may be their age. Amin Ehsan Islahi, Tadabbur-e-Quran, Volume 4, page 496. The second thing mentioned in this verse is that a person should always show obedience and compliance to his parents, and this obedience should arise from his love and affection for them. The Quranic words used for this purpose are وَخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ. In them is the subtle insinuation that just as parents hide and protect their children the way birds do through their wings, in a similar manner, children too should hide and protect their parents in their wings of love and obedience. The reason is that if their children can ever repay their parents for their care, it is through this attitude. The third thing that is mentioned besides the above behavior is that a person should keep praying for his parents the way his parents raised him, with affection and care. The Almighty should also shower His blessings on them in this old age. This prayer is a right of the parents on their children, and it is also a reminder for a person to fulfill this right imposed on him. This prayer is also the motive for the feelings of love which the Almighty has demanded from the children in treating their parents with kindness. In Surah Luqman are mentioned the limits of this kind treatment. Following are the directives of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in this regard. Ibn Masud anhu reports that he asked the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, "What deed does the Almighty like the most?" The Prophet replied, "To pray on time." I asked, "Which after this?" He replied, "Treating parents with kindness." Al-Bukhari, Al-Jami' as-Sahih, pages 89 and 90, hadith number 527. Abu Huraira radiyallahu anhu reports that the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ said, "Humiliation is for that person, humiliation is for that person, humiliation is for that person." People asked, "For whom, O Messenger of God?" He replied, "A person, both of whose parents or any one of them reached old age in his presence, and in spite of this he was not able to enter paradise." Muslim, Al-Jami' as-Sahih, page 1119, hadith number 6510. Abdullah ibn Amr radiyallahu anhu says that once a person asked the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ to participate in jihad. At this, the Prophet inquired, "Are your parents alive?" The person replied in the affirmative. The Prophet then remarked, "Keep serving them. This is jihad." Al-Bukhari, Al-Jami' as-Sahih, page 496, hadith number 3004. Abu Sa'id al-Khudri radiyallahu anhu says that a person from the people of Yemen migrated and came to the Prophet in order to participate in jihad. The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ asked, "Do you have any relative in Yemen?" He replied that he had his parents there. The Prophet remarked, "Did you seek their permission?" He said, "No." The Prophet then said, "Go back and seek their permission, and if they grant permission, then only can you take part in jihad. Otherwise, keep serving them." Abu Dawud, Sunan, Volume 3, page 17, hadith number 2530. Muawiyah narrated from his father Jahima radiyallahu anhu that he came to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and said, "O Messenger of God, I would like to participate in jihad and have come to consult you regarding this." The Prophet asked, "Is your mother alive?" He said, "Yes." At this, the Prophet said, "Stay with her and serve her, because paradise is beneath her feet." An-Nasai, Sunan, page 426, hadith number 3106. Abdullah ibn Amr radiyallahu anhu narrates from the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, "The pleasure of the Almighty rests in the pleasure of the Father, and the displeasure of the Almighty resides in the displeasure of the Father." At-Tirmidhi, Sunan, Volume 3, page 465 and 466, hadith number 1899. Abu Darda radiyallahu anhu says that he heard the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ saying that the best door to paradise is the father. So if you want, you can waste him, and if you want, you can protect him. At-Tirmidhi, Volume 3, page 465, hadith number 1900. Amr ibn Shu'aib narrates from his mother, who narrates from his grandfather, that once a person came to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and said, "I have some wealth and I have also children, but my father needs this wealth." The Prophet Muhammad ﷺ replied, "Both you and your wealth belong to your father." Abu Dawud, Sunan, Volume 3, page 287, hadith number 3530. In relationships which develop with other people besides the parents, a person should have this same attitude in proportion to their closeness to him. At another place, the Quran has unequivocally stated this in the following words: وَاعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَبِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى وَالْمَسَاكِينِ وَالْجَارِ ذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْجَارِ الْجُنُبِ وَالصَّاحِبِ بِالْجَنبِ وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ وَمَا مَلَكَتْ أَيْمَانُكُمْ إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ مَنْ كَانَ مُخْتَالًا فَخُورًا. Serve God and associate none with Him, and show kindness to parents and to relatives, and to orphans and to the destitute, to neighbors who are your relatives, and those you do not know, and to those that keep company with you, and to the traveler and to the slaves also, because God does not like the arrogant and the conceited. Other relatives. It is evident from the verse that after the parents, the person's foremost obligation is towards his other relatives and kindred. The expression sila rahmi is used for the kind treatment of these people. The basis of a relationship between human beings can be multifarious. People can be classmates, neighbors, friends, or companions. They can have common interests or common professions, and this basis can even be being citizens of the same country. However, in all these relationships, the greatest relationships are the blood relatives. This is the knot tied by the Almighty, and it is not befitting for a human being to untie it. Thus, safeguarding the rights of this relationship is a foremost obligation. The Quran says, وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ الَّذِي تَسَاءَلُونَ بِهِ وَالْأَرْحَامِ إِنَّ اللَّهَ كَانَ عَلَيْكُمْ رَقِيبًا. And fear God, in whose name you plead with one another, and beware about your relatives also. Indeed, God is ever watching you. Surah number 4, verse 1. The importance of this treatment of the kindred and near ones is also found in the narratives of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Abu Huraira radhiyallahu anhu narrates from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam that the word Rahm originates from Rahman. Thus God has addressed it and said, "He who has joined you, I will join him with me, and he who severed you, I will dissociate from him." Al-Bukhari, Al-Jami As-Sahih, page 1048, hadith number 5988. Abu Huraira radhiyallahu anhu narrates that at another instance, the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam adopted even more subtle words to describe this. When God had created his creation, Raham or womb stood in his presence and said, "This is the place of the one who seeks your refuge from breaking relations." God said, "Indeed, are you not happy with the fact that the one who joins you, I will join him with me, and he who severs you, I will also dissociate from him?" Al-Bukhari, Al-Jami As-Sahih, page 1048, hadith number 5987. Abu Ayyub al-Ansari radhiyallahu anhu said that a person came to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and said, "O Messenger of God, tell me something which can take me to paradise." He replied, "Serve God and do not associate anyone with him. Be diligent in the prayer and pay zakah and fulfill the rights of the kindred." Jubair ibn Mut'im radhiyallahu anhu narrates from the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, "Any person who is guilty of breaking blood relations will not enter paradise." Al-Bukhari, Al-Jami As-Sahih, page 1048, hadith number 5984. Anas radhiyallahu anhu narrates that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that he who likes that his earnings increase and his life should be endowed with blessings should fulfill the rights of blood relations. Al-Bukhari, Al-Jami As-Sahih, page 1048, hadith number 5986. The pinnacle of this fulfilling of rights is to fulfill them even for those who sever blood relations. Al-Bukhari, Al-Jami As-Sahih, page 1048 to 1049, hadith number 5991.